Japan, feudal era. Two warriors stand in the shadows of history, one bound by a code of absolute honor, the other bound by no code at all. For centuries, we've pitted them against each other, but what if the real answer is far stranger, far darker, and far more fascinating than any movie ever showed you? Two children. One born into an aristocratic hall draped in silk and steel, the other born in a fog-wrapped mountain village with no lord, no title, and no future handed to him. Two completely different destinies, and yet history will entangle them forever. The samurai class began taking shape around 794 AD during Japan's Heian period, serving aristocratic families in the imperial court. Meanwhile, the ancestors of what we now call ninja quietly hardened themselves in the remote highlands of Iga and Koka province, two mountain regions so isolated, so rugged that even feudal lords rarely bothered to control them. The samurai were nobility. The ninja came from farmers, wanderers, and desperate men who developed covert skills out of pure survival. Same island, same era, completely different worlds. But here's the question historians have been arguing about for centuries. Were ninja actually a separate class at all, or were they something far more unexpected? Hold that thought, because first, we need to talk about the invisible force that separated these two warriors more than any sword ever could. Imagine two men facing the same impossible mission: save their lord, survive the night. The samurai walks in wearing his family crest, announcing his name before the battle begins. The ninja has already been inside the castle for 3 days, disguised as a cook. Same goal, opposite methods, and only one of them comes home. The samurai lived and died by Bushido, the way of the warrior, a code built on 7 virtues: rectitude, courage, benevolence, respect, honesty, honor, and loyalty. A samurai was expected to die rather than bring shame to his name. The ninja operated from an entirely different set of texts. 3 major shinobi manuscripts survive to this day: the Ninpiden from 1655, the Bansen Shukai from 1675, and the Shoninki from 1681. They cover disguise, infiltration, psychology, and poison, not honor, not glory. The Bansen Shukai alone catalogs over 200 types of fire implements, weapons designed for arson, sabotage, and battlefield chaos. Complete the mission, erase all traces, depart without leaving a name. That was the ninja philosophy. And some historians argue it was actually smarter, more rational, more modern. But there's a piece of this story almost nobody talks about, a secret the samurai tried very hard to bury. We'll get there. But what about the weapons? Because this is where the myths start piling up. The katana wasn't just a sword. To a samurai, it was his soul, his status, and his legal identity, so sacred that improper handling was punishable by death. Samurai carried 2 swords, the katana and the shorter wakizashi, as a legal symbol of their class. Their armor was constructed from hundreds of metal plates tied with leather and silk, both deadly and ceremonially decorated with family crests. Now contrast that with the ninja's toolkit: short swords, spears, grappling hooks, smoke bombs, and, yes, shuriken. But here's what almost every documentary gets wrong. Historical records show that shuriken were not kill shots. They were thrown distractions. The real shinobi preferred practical, close-range weapons and relied more heavily on environment, timing, and psychology than any single blade. And that black ninja outfit? A theatrical invention borrowed from kabuki stagehands who wore dark colors to appear invisible on stage. Real shinobi dressed as monks, merchants, and farmers because the best disguise was never looking like a warrior at all. In a straight fight, the samurai wins almost every time, but ninja almost never fought in a straight fight. And the one time a great warlord tried to destroy them entirely, they didn't just survive, they helped shape the next 260 years of Japanese history. Deep in the mountain basin of central Japan, so remote that feudal lords barely bothered, 2 communities built something extraordinary. Not a palace, not an army, a self-governing confederation of warrior clans who answered to nobody, hired out to everybody, and vanished like smoke whenever danger came. More than 50 ninja clans operated across Iga and Koka at their peak in the 16th century. They had a 3-tier hierarchy: upper commanders, middle coordinators, and field operatives, and daimyo across Japan paid handsomely for their skills. From 1485 to 1581, the ninja heartland was Japan's most dangerous open secret. Then Oda Nobunaga, the most powerful warlord in Japan, decided to end it. In 1579, his son invaded Iga with 8,000 troops. The ninja repelled them using mountain ambushes. 2 years later, Nobunaga himself crushed Iga with a massive coordinated force, the event known as the Tensho Iga War, destroying the independent ninja stronghold. It looked like the end, but here's the twist. The very warlord whose armies destroyed Iga would be dead within a year, and his death would hand the ninja the most important mission in Japanese history. June 15, 1582. Oda Nobunaga is dead, killed in the Honnuji incident. His rival factions are already scrambling for control. Tokugawa Ieyasu, the man who will one day rule all of Japan, finds himself stranded far from home, surrounded by enemies. Every road is watched. Every town is dangerous. He has one option: trust the ninja. The Iga crossing of 1582 saw ninja from both Iga and Koka, led by the legendary Iga warrior Hattori Hanzo, guide Ieyasu through treacherous mountain passes back to safety. Hattori Hanzo was born in 1542. He earned the nickname Demon Hanzo, not from myth, but from documented battlefield conduct across the Sengoku period. After the crossing, he became captain of the shogun's personal guard. When Ieyasu established the Tokugawa shogunate in 1603, he settled 200 Iga ninja in Edo to guard his castle. The gate they guarded still bears the name Hanzomon Gate. Today it names a Tokyo Metro subway line. The Tokugawa shogunate lasted over 260 years. Without that crossing, Ieyasu may never have survived to unify Japan. The ninja did not just save a man that night. They saved a dynasty. And for their reward, they were quietly absorbed into the very samurai system they had always operated outside of. Which leads to the most uncomfortable truth in this entire story. We've spent centuries imagining these two as mortal enemies, honor versus shadow, light versus dark. But go back to the actual historical documents and a very different picture emerges. Scholars have concluded plainly that there was never any specialized class of masked assassins living in hereditary clans and selling their services for hire as depicted in popular culture. This is largely a myth created during the long and peaceful Edo period and amplified in the 20th century. Historical records show that samurai themselves routinely conducted covert operations, espionage, infiltration, night raids. The Oda Nobunaga Chronicle records samurai-commanded shinobi conducting arson and assassinations. By a 1649 shogunate law, only daimyo with incomes over 10,000 koku were permitted to maintain shinobi, classified as a legitimate military profession right alongside samurai retainers. They weren't enemies, they were colleagues, and sometimes they were the same person. So who was truly stronger? In a direct duel, the samurai. In open battle, the samurai army, without question. In an impossible covert mission against impossible odds, the ninja, every single time. But the deepest answer comes from what happened when peace arrived. The Meiji Restoration of 1868 opened Japan to the modern world, and with a single imperial decree, 700 years of samurai tradition were abolished. Public sword carrying was banned in 1876. The greatest warrior class in Asian history ended by paperwork. The ninja faded earlier after the Shimabara Rebellion of 1637, but they didn't disappear, they transformed. Iga operatives became the Oniwaban, the shogun's covert intelligence network, Japan's first organized intelligence agency. The word ninja itself didn't even spread widely in Japan until popular novels of the 1950s. The real term was always shinobi. The image we know today was invented during peacetime and sold to the world as history. The samurai became the soul of Japan, their code alive in corporate loyalty, martial arts, and billions of dollars in global media. The ninja became the shadow of every modern intelligence agency and special forces unit on Earth, whether those operators know it or not. So here's the question we haven't answered yet, and it's the one that changes everything. If ninja were largely a myth invented during peacetime, Who exactly were the samurai secretly using to do their dirty work for 300 years? That answer exists. It's buried in the historical record, and it is far more disturbing than anything in this video.